The transmitter, it receives the signal messages from the user and it encodes it and transfers to the over this radio wave transmission. Transmitting signal from Earth station to the satellite is called uplink, and there are two concepts here. One is uplink, second one is downlink. Communication over the oceans can be achieved by using microwave transmission. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Students, let us start our discussion with the chapter Physical Layer. So, under this, in the session, we are going to talk about unguided medium of communication or transmission. So, under that, we are going to discuss a radio wave, satellite communication, infrared transmission, laser transmission, and microwaves transmission. So, let us start with radio wave. So, the transmission making use of radio frequency is called radio wave transmission. So, here we are using the radio wave with a different frequency for different types of communication. So, radio frequency for radio wave transmission, it consists of two parts. One is transmitter and one is receiver. So, what are the function of these two? The transmitter takes the message, encodes it onto a sine wave. The transmitter, it receives the signal messages from the user and it encodes it and transfers to the over this radio wave transmission. The receiver decodes the message, and both the transmitter and receiver use antenna to transmit and capture the radio signals. So, this is how the radio wave functions. So, here there are two concepts, one is transmitter and receiver. So, here the data from the user goes to the transmitter and it encodes the data, and after encoding it transfers over the radio waves, and at the receiver end, the receiver, it captures it receiver, it decodes the messages or the signals sent from the user, sent from the transmitter. So, both the transmitter and receiver, they'll make use of antenna to capture the signals. And if you look at the diagram now, say this is how the diagram. So, here this is a base station and the relay station here. So, the communication from one of the devices, it goes to the antenna, and from here it will be transmitted to the base station and again at the receiver end. So, this is how it works. And what are the advantages of radio wave communication? One is offers mobility, and it is cheaper than digging or putting cables. So, if we talk about guided medium of communication, where we have to dig the ground to lay a coaxial cables or different types of cables, and the procedure to lay down a physical cable by digging the ground, it requires a lot of paperwork and lot of procedures. So, those things are missing those things can be avoided in unguided medium of communication, and it offers freedom from land acquisition and required for putting cables. So, these procedures are missing. So, this is an advantage for using radio wave communication. Again, what drawback is that it is insecure communication. It means that easily damaged by rain, thunder or storm. So, it depends on the weather condition. If the weather condition is not good, then there are chances of data loss or communication lost. So, that is the main drawback of this radio wave communication. Next concept is, our next technology is satellite communication. It is one more example for unguided medium. So, you can see everywhere through satellites, the communication takes place through satellites. So, you can see the antenna, a big antennas, dish antennas like over everywhere. So, that is an example for satellite communication. So, here transmitting signal from Earth station to the satellite is called uplink, and there are two concepts here. One is uplink, second one is downlink. So, the first step is from the Earth station, it goes to the satellite that is called uplink. The signal from Earth station reaches satellite, that is uplink, and receiving signal from the satellite is called downlink. Once the signal from satellite transmitted to the Earth station, that is called downlink. Here, the satellite receives signals from the through uplink and amplifies it, then sends it to the Earth station. So it is going to amplifies in the sense is going to strengthen the signal and transmit back to the Earth station. That is how the transmission takes place through satellite communication. Now advantages: large area can be covered, and this is cable, putting a cable, maintaining cable across city will be difficult. So this communication is solution. See, if there is a communication through guided medium of communication, to lay down a cable is a difficult task across the city. So in that case, the satellite communication is the solution for this. It is useful in lightly populated area. This is the advantages of satellite communication. What are the drawbacks of this? Disadvantages: installation is difficult and expensive due to high investment. These are the drawbacks of satellite communication. Next one is infrared transmission. So what is infrared transmission? Here it uses infrared light to send the data. So this is another type of technology or communication by making use of infrared light. It cannot penetrate through the walls. So, and communication through short distance wireless signals. So the advantage of this, or where we are using it, normally we are using it for short distance communication, a secure communication used in laptops. So look at the example here in the diagram. We can see that the remote control here, where we're using for our computer or maybe in our TV. There's an example for infrared transmission. So here the technology is by using infrared light and use it for short distance communication, and it can be a secure communication. So this is infrared transmission. And advantages and disadvantages of this here. One is it is very cheap, very easily available. Wireless features in consumer devices that already allow transmission and receiving. So it is possible to transmit either sending and receiving signals in wireless consumer devices. That is why we are using in our laptop or remote control. So low power consumption, high security, simple setup, and portable. So here it doesn't require any antenna, and it does not penetrate walls, which improves the security of data transmitted. So this is very good example for this advantage of infrared transmission, and low licenses required. Now let us see the disadvantages. It is for very short distance communication and very limited bandwidth, means the capacity of the signal is very low, and line of sight limitation. The meaning is that suppose we have seen in the example the TV here. So if you want to operate a remote controller over this, it should be in line of sight. So if you make use of remote from some other direction, it may not function or it may not work. So that is the meaning of it is a line of sight limitation or communication. And speed is very low as comparison to other transmission, and outdated connection as most devices use Bluetooth. So nowadays we are using a new technology, Bluetooth, because of this are outdated. Now let us see. Next one is laser transmission. Another type of communication is laser transmission. So you might have heard about laser lights and laser transmission. So what is it? It's a direct line of sight transmission. So what is the meaning of direct line of sight? So it cannot penetrate or it cannot bend. So that's the meaning of direct line of sight transmission. It is unidirectional transmission and high speed than microwave, and it uses laser transmitter and photosensitive receiver at each end. So this is the laser transmission. And if you look at the diagram here, so this is a satellite communication. Again, another example for this. So here it is a line of sight. Directly it goes to the devices. Advantage is that it can be implemented in point-to-point communication easily. So what is the meaning of point-to-point? So here directly one can communicate with another point directly without an abstraction. That is the meaning of point-to-point communication. Next one is low cost, a small hardware, low power, and absence of electromagnetic interference. This is the advantage of this. So there won't be any interference with electromagnetic interference. Now, disadvantages: not meant for long distance, and potential hazards of lasers, and aiming can be difficult at longer ranges. So it requires a point-to-point communication, means it had to reach and it has to point at the right direction at right point. So prone to poor environmental conditions, means if the weather condition is very poor, then there may be a problem in the communication. And performance affected by the weather and line of sight requirement. So exactly we have to point out at the device at the other end. That is the meaning of point-to-point communication. These are the drawbacks of laser communication. Next technology is microwave transmission. So what is it? Electromagnetic waves having frequency range between 1 to 300 are called microwave. See, all the frequencies are ranging from, it has its own ranges. So based on that, we are using it for different technologies. So here microwave communication or technology where we are using, the frequency is from 1 to 300 gigahertz. So here it is also in unidirectional, and when an antenna transmits microwave waves, they can be narrowly focused. Again, it is a point-to-point communication, and the sending and receiving antenna need to be aligned. So this is the one important in microwave communication. So whatever the antenna we are using, it has to be set in a particular angle or particular degree. That is the meaning of it to be aligned, both sending and receiving antennas. Look at the diagram here. See, this is a ducting range. This is the range of this here. This is the physical connectivity between the two devices or between the two towers. And again, this is how the signal or microwave transmit within the frequencies between 1 to 300 gigahertz. This is an example for microwave communication. What are the features of this or characteristics? The frequency range of terrestrial microwave, it is from 4 to 6 gigahertz to 21 to 23 gigahertz. And bandwidth, it supports the bandwidth from 1 to 10 Mbps. So this is the bandwidth, the capacity of microwave communication. And it is inexpensive for short distance. And long distance, it is expensive. It requires a higher tower for longer distance. So it can be used for both short distance and long distance communications, where the long distance communications, it will be more expensive as compared to short distance communication. And attenuation, the meaning is loss of signal. It is affected by environmental conditions and antenna size. This type of communication also affected by the weather conditions. So if there is any poor weather conditions, so there are chances of loss of signals. So there might be a problem in communication. These are the features of microwave communication. And advantages, it is cheaper as compared to guided medium, means cabling or guided medium. It is again just free from land acquisition and all the procedures. Microwave transmission provides its easy communication in terrain, as the installation of cable is quite difficult to task. So it is easy for us to have a communication like this rather than having a cable communication or guided communication, where it is a very difficult task to lay down a cable across the city. Now, communication over the oceans can be achieved by using microwave transmission. So this is also an advantage of microwave transmission. Drawback, what are the disadvantages and drawback of this? So it can be moved, signal can be moved out of phase by using microwave transmission, and susceptible to weather condition, means that it will be affected by weather condition. And bandwidth is a limited bandwidth. Allocation of bandwidth is limited in the case of microwave transmission. These are the disadvantages of microwave communication. Students, so far we have discussed about unguided transmission medium. Under unguided medium, we have discussed about the radio wave communication, satellite communication, laser communication, and so on. So let us continue our discussion in my next session. Thank you so much.